Hi, Rogue.
Hi, Zaxers.
Oh, we got friends today.
Wow.
I didn't see you
I
there.
forgot
do a
that there was
goof or
a goof
something.
that we were
I
gonna
forgot.
do.
Yeah.
You said you wanted it organic, and I tried it, and it...
Yeah, you should have warned us before.
You said not to play in goofs. Okay.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. We did say that. Yeah, we
So
forgot that. Hey, I'm Bob.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
And
Connor.
we're from the Steel... Okay, I was hoping you would come in with me.
Right, okay.
No, you still...
A
The Steel Donut Collective.
The Steel Donut Collective.
We'll fix
Perfect.
it in post.
Yay.
We you know what we do.
Yeah, so they decided to join us, and they are treating me and Rogue to a delightful feature film recap.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you describe
Yes.
it, right?
Us? No.
Yeah.
No, I
Oh.
wouldn't.
We want to let you know about a bad movie that we
Hold
saw.
on, I
and
want to
you can
clarify
watch at home,
something.
too.
We do not call
Oh.
this a feature film.
Well, it's featured as the subject of the recording, so I
in
guess
that
it's the
sense,
featured
it is
film.
a featured film,
Yes, it's a
and
featured
it was
film.
recorded. I can't prove that
Right.
it wasn't recorded on film, but it was
Okay.
awful. It's called 2307 Winter's Dream. And you might be saying, what does that title mean? And 2307's the year, and Winter's Dream is the name of the mission. And I'm pretty sure they just came up with the title and then went, okay, now let's come up with a story to go along with this very cool title.
Yeah, 2307 was the year. Winter's Dream sounded cool. It was the phrase.
Yeah.
So.
Can I believe that I have seen this.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
So
Interesting.
Wow, this is all...
this is awkward.
No, it's okay. We'll
Okay.
just-
Oh, now we can all. Now the three of us can revel in remembering
I'm half
it.
asleep, so
It was-
Rogue can pick up the slack.
I think you've probably seen it more recently than I, but
Yeah, and also I barely remember the plot,
perfect.
even though I saw
Right.
it like a few days ago.
Wow, this is kind of fun. I'm like the odd man out. I'm the only one who's safe.
All right, so let me just start things off by saying, so it's the movie's called 2307 Winter's Dream. Our main character is played by one of the, I think he's one of the writers. He is like one of the producers of the movie. So it's like, it's one of these like, he cast himself in the movie that he wrote for himself.
I don't know. I don't have a problem with that, honestly.
I don't necessarily have a problem with that, except that the character is supposed to be like gritty and edgy, and the guy just doesn't have the voice to carry it, and he's constantly monologuing and dropping one-liners in narration.
It's kind of funny, like, he doesn't have a bad voice, but he just cannot be gritty
it's
and
like
edgy.
he
Like
tries
he
to go for gritty and edgy,
genuinely sounds
but
like,
then his voice is a little bit too high-pitched for it, so it's not high-pitched, it's just higher pitched than you're expecting, and so he comes across sounding like a 14-year-old trying to sound gritty and edgy.
Yeah.
So is it like
No.
he's trying to be a Han Solo when really he's a Luke?
Yeah, a little bit. Except Han Solo's not gritty and edgy either.
Okay.
But yeah, I gotta say, I'm okay with if he came up with the story and then also played the lead role and also produced. I'm not
With
okay
the story he came up
if
with.
he came up with the script and acted and produced, because that script.
The script is
Imagine a conversation filled with nothing but bad one-liners. Like they think it's like
But
really
the thing
cool,
is, it's not that kind of
edgy
quippy dialogue
one-liners.
that you sometimes see where somebody... It's not quippy. It's just like unconnected one-liners or setups for one-liners.
So it's like...
So let me just say, this is how the movie starts. It starts with like a panic shot over the Arctic, which is supposed to be Arizona, and it's like set in the future where nuclear holocaust, something. Now it's it's nuclear winter or something. They actually claim it's an asteroid in the movie, even though that doesn't make any sense. And then later on, one of the characters says, like, I've been to the crash site. It didn't look, or I've been to the crater. It's not, it didn't look like an asteroid. It looked like a nuclear bomb to me. And I'm like, first of all, when did you go? Second of all, how can you tell the difference?
It kind of like tried to be deep and like have meta commentary there for like one scene in the middle.
Well, the movie tries to have meta commentary the whole way through, but this is the opening monologue, and I want to deliver this in whole.
Okay.
And I'm going to try to do this in the voice that he does, which is to say a little bit edgy, but also a little too high pitched to sound cool.
Okay.
141 years after man declared God dead, we're in the middle of the longest winter in human history. 300 years of remorseless cold, and it probably won't end for another million. Not until every last one of us has disappeared. The only thing left of mankind's footprint dwells 10 meters beneath the ice, where the last of Earth's geothermal energy pumps life into the bowels of our crumbling infrastructure. All right, so a lot of questions, right? 141 years after man declared God dead.
Yeah.
Something. 300 years of remorseless cold. So this movie is 2307. So did the bombs drop in 2007? Or did they drop 141 years after the movie? And then another 300 years? But then what's the timing? What is... Unless he's talking about 141 years after... Nietzsche declared God dead, but then what's the 300 years?
Yeah.
And then also, what do you mean the last of Earth's geothermal energy? How are we running out? It's 2307. We shouldn't run out for another million or 2 million or however many million years.
Maybe like the 100 people that live deep below the ice in the Confederacy of Arizona.
The Federation
and all of that. They're just Federation of Arizona. They're piping it all in.
They're just wasting it. But so they have crumbling infrastructure underneath the ice. Yada yada. There we are. We start in a club. There's like there's naked women left and right. And then that tells you, oh, this movie is not for kids.
This movie is
or adults.
Got the obligatory club scene.
Yeah, club scene. There's music. There's naked women. Everybody's doing this drug called Q vapor, and you see our main character who looks like a homeless person. He's like dressed in like just the worst like disheveled clothing, and he has this very bad fake beard on, and he says in narration, he says, only liars wear smiles anymore. And I'm like, oh my god.
Ooh.
Well, wait.
Stop.
Wait. So, okay, wait. It's the end of the world. It's winter forever.
Uh-huh.
They still have clubs.
They still have drugs.
Yeah. And he's doing a drug, and it's called Q vapor. And he says, Q vapor, the drug of choice in the 24th century. I call it man's greatest achievement because it's the only thing that numbs the pain. And at that point, I thought about turning off the movie. And I only continued watching for this video.
Well,
yeah.
I just don't understand why is this movie so...
You're going to be asking the first half of this question for the rest of the movie.
Why is this movie?
Why is this movie?
I guess I think maybe we should explain some of just kind of the overall premise and plot summary as well.
If you want to.
Yeah, sure. So, it's the future. The outside is uninhabitable, so humanity, at least this isolated pocket, lives in this underground complex, and they've been developing humanoids that are basically, genetic creatures that are made to kind of look like humans, but that can withstand the cold outside.
Not just that, but they're also built to do work in the complex.
Yeah, they use them like slaves, right?
Right.
Yeah, and they're called humanoids or noids for short.
Noids.
Which
I
can only
don't
make
like
me
that.
think of the Noid
The
from
Noid.
Domino's.
Yes.
Right. I've been avoiding the Noid for 20
and
years.
they finally got
you
me.
know?
But these, basically, if you want to imagine what they look like, they're supposed to have black blood, but you can't really see that. They basically just look like a bunch of idiots in powdered sugar. Like, just imagine a human being, shaved of all their hair, coated in powdered sugar.
Okay.
That's what a Noid looks like.
I remember considering this when I saw the movie. They're supposed to be genetically modified or whatever, synthetically made to withstand the cold. Why would they make them hairless?
Yeah.
I was gonna
that's a good
ask.
question.
Because
Not
the
so much-
white
also-
looks like snow, and if it looks
Camouflage.
like it, that means that they can withstand it.
I guess that's how polar bears work.
Uh-huh.
I think it's like an ethics thing, right? Like you don't want them to look too human because then it feels bad to just
Hold
make
on.
them
If
slaves,
you don't want them
right?
to look
Whoa.
too human, why don't you put a costume on them instead of coating them in
Also,
powdered
what a
sugar?
terrible ethics.
You know, this is
Well,
That's not how ethics work.
this is perfect timing for us to be recording this because now we're talking about the humanoids and all I can picture is those pictures going around of Kanye West like at, with silver body paint with like this weird silver outfit, like that apparently did or something. I don't actually know what he
I don't
did,
know what that's
but it
about,
reminds me of that.
Basically, okay, so they've got these Noids, and they have black blood and they're slaves. And in case you're thinking like, oh, so these humanoids are basically humans, but they're slaves, and they just look different. That's what the whole movie's about. It's like
it's one of those.
it's one of these movies where they're trying to be really deep and clever by like. They want to have quote-unquote layered commentary, but it's not really layered at all. It's just them saying the same thing over and over. Humanoids are basically humans. Humanoids are basically humans. Humanoids are basically... And you're like, I get it. I know racism bad.
So,
well, I guess... But that's... I never understood that so much,
That racism is bad.
You never understood that racism was bad?
No, I'm with you there.
Okay.
But just seal of approval on that.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
but when you make like you made them.
Uh-huh.
mm-hmm.
So it doesn't really matter what if they're like you, does it?
Okay.
So like you made it.
Well, here, okay. Let's
like
swap
I
out-
make a bowl at pottery class. I can use it however I want to use
except
it.
if the bull thought and screamed when you shot it, and it had feelings.
Okay, so at that point, the humanoids are just like I think.
They're powdered sugar people.
But so is the moral of this whole
Anything.
movie? Is there like that part of the mission too? It's just like to teach you like respect people. That's the whole movie.
I think the mission of the movie
And they
is
made
racism bad. Like I think it really is that simple.
Yeah, we kind of see how it plays out
You'll
as the movie
see.
develops because it's not just a low key tale of whatever. No, like one of the humanoids is apparently leading a rebellion, even though like you don't see the humanoids really doing anything bad.
You don't see them doing anything at all, almost.
Yeah, like the humanoids have already done their rebellion and escaped to the surface.
Yeah,
and the
so there
movie
was,
is
like-
gonna be about finding the leader.
Yeah. So
on
our
the
main
surface.
character, what was his name?
Commander Bishop.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Did he
Bishop?
ever get
What
a first name?
I don't know, maybe, but Bishop is he's in the club. He's inhaling Q vapor because it's the greatest achievement.
Yeah. So by the
You know,
way,
blah
yeah,
blah blah,
this
numbs the pain.
Can I
and
just-
then we see like a flashback, and he's showing us like he had a wife named Mara, and he's gonna continue to talk to Mara in the narration.
Oh, I hate when they do that. Is she dead?
Yep, she's
Yeah,
dead.
yeah.
And we see a flashback of how she died. I don't remember how, like when we see the flashback or why. We see this flashback, and it's like she was a scientist in a lab working on the humanoids. And then at some point, the Noids got all crazy, and they decided to kill everybody, and so they killed her. And she was pregnant with their child, and she's dead. And then the Noids escaped. and so he's like, I'll never forgive those Noids, and I gave up my life as a Spartan 7, which is like they're like super soldiers, maybe? But like he's hold on. He's like, he gave up that life and he went AWOL, and now he's hiding out as a drug user in the club. And because he ODs on this drug that's supposed to make you very low-key, he's like relaxed, he goes into like Q-Vapor rage, which they call, I think they call it Vapor Rage, actually.
Wait.
No, Zach, we can't wait. This movie's moving too fast. I say that because the beginning of this movie moves way too fast, and then the middle part of the movie is so slow.
Bob, I do want to point out that, with most drugs, you try to actually get most of it in your body. With Q-Vapor, he, like, opens the vial or whatever, and the gas starts pouring out, and he maybe takes, like,
to the ceiling.
one sniff, while, like, the rest of the room fills up
with vapor.
The vapor.
So it's kind of like when people like spray the perfume away from them and then walk towards it.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
Except, like, you would think he would open it up like above his nostril and like really get all of the vapor in. No. That's apparently a lethal dose in there, because he just opens it up into the air and then just kind of like wafts his nose into it.
Yeah, like he took it via secondhand.
Secondhand Q-Vapor.
I just have one question before we move forward. Just going back to the tragic wife.
Oh, we'll go back to it way too many times.
Okay, but just one quick. Is this basically like a fancy sci-fi futuristic reboot or whatever of Checkpoint?
No.
So far he sounds a lot like Checkpoint.
I see how you can see how that sounds like Checkpoint, but no, it's not like the movie Checkpoint. Because in the movie Checkpoint, there's a really cool action scene, and this movie has none of those.
So he's overdosing on the Q-Vapor, and he's all crazy.
Yeah, and so they call the police, and the police come, and the police all make quippy one-liners to each other. And they say, oh my gosh, he's a Spartan 7. You're back on commission. And he's like, no. And then he gets taken back.
So he's a humanoid?
No, he's a human.
Oh.
Literally, now that I think about it, I love the idea of, he goes AWOL in basically this just underground complex that can't be that big.
Yeah, you would think that they would
just
be able to find him.
No one went after him? But
Nobody.
He's
him.
He's a junkie. He's overdosed on the Q-Vapor. He's going all crazy. He's attacking the police. And when they subdue him, it's just like, better get you back in that outfit. You're on another mission.
Yeah, you're being commissioned again for another mission. And
you can't run away. You're always a Spartan, son.
Yeah, and nobody thinks about charging him with any kind of crime.
No.
Like, even if Q-Vapor's not illegal, punching people probably still is. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
I would think.
Hey, it's cold outside.
Yeah.
Anything
When
goes.
it's cold outside, fists fly.
Yeah.
Rules mean nothing. So he gets his beard shaved down to a more reasonable, actually grown length instead of the fake one they had attached to his face. And I'm like, oh, thank the Lord that they didn't keep him in that stupid fake carpet on his face the whole time.
They also take the wig off. And then he has a normal haircut for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. And he has a couple scars on his face that go completely unexplained.
Yeah.
I think that's just there to make him look cool. And so the commander, what's his name, Trajan?
Yeah, General Trajan.
General Trajan says, son, we're commissioning you for another mission. Ooh. And he's like, leave me alone. I don't want to go on a mission, Dad. You're not even my real dad. He doesn't say any of that. He does. Yeah, okay. Right. Trajan's not his dad. So Trajan's like, no, son, once a Spartan, always a Spartan. Get in there. And then they do this Spartan handshake, and I'm like,
well, I should mention
you're
that
very on board with this already.
Trajan Trajan gives, the premise of the movie. Bishop
Bishop doesn't
want to rejoin the Spartans, but Trajan says, you need to because they have your daughter.
He goes, my daughter? I thought she died. And he goes, let me show you something. And then he pulls out like a little hollow thing. And even though we just saw the flashback of Mara dying because the Noids killed her, we see
while she was pregnant.
Right. We see
so they salvaged
we see
the baby.
he shows him another flashback. We're seeing it's now corrected in such a way that we're seeing like the security camera footage and somehow they've snuck away with the baby. And we don't really see them like pulling the baby out or anything, but they steal the baby.
Yeah, after the humanoids kill Mara, then they take the baby.
Yeah.
Out
and so he goes like, "Oh my god, they've got my baby."
Doesn't sound like that would work.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense at all.
I mean, like now because so like she dies, you pull baby out of her, but now you're running with this.
You're running away with a baby. Yeah.
Who might have been ready, might not have been ready. And where's an incubator?
This is
in the snow.
I know this is the future.
Yeah, no, you've thought about it more than the scriptwriters have.
Yeah, I mean the Noids are built to survive the cold without wearing pants or shirts
or hair.
But babies aren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean this is literally a newborn.
Or
how does
preemie sounds like
or below a newborn.
Okay.
And a preemie who wasn't ready.
Right,
otherwise the baby would have been born. But no, pulls the baby out, runs away, and he's like, "No, my daughter! I have to save my daughter."
Well, maybe it was like really good timing. Like she was like in labor.
So you're saying the Noids planned their rebellion?
I don't.
No.
I'm trying to help Winter's Dream go.
I understand.
Zach's just spoiling. Mara did not look like she was 8 months and 29 days pregnant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all right.
And so,
okay, so she gets the mission.
So he gets the mission. Then he's
why does he have to save his daughter? No one isn't this like a lost
Spartan 7, Spartan 7, something. You never leave the Spartan something. I'm pretty sure Spartan 7 is supposed to be a reference to Halo.
Yeah.
Because Master Chief is Spartan 117.
Yeah.
Okay, it's just like weird because one, he's a junkie, so I don't.
No,
think
don't
he's
worry.
really
That doesn't matter at all for the rest of the movie.
It doesn't come up again.
Q
cleans
vapor,
up immediately.
irrelevant. Does not matter. He is gone. That
as
Q
soon as he learns that
they never
he needs
mention Q vapor again.
No, they don't.
Oh.
As soon as he learns he needs to get his daughter, he's in that suit and he's
clean.
Pristine, driven military man, on a mission.
He's not even a little bit washed up. Not even a tiny bit.
Okay, I'm sure that this isn't it, and I'm gonna try to stop saving this movie. But you know what would be kind of cool if there was a movie where it was like they just made that up to because no one was enlisting in the army anymore, so they give everyone like this fake dream like your family's dead, but one of your family is safe, so you gotta save them. Like they just keep faking missions like that.
I mean, that's kind of the opposite of the plot of Blade Runner, whatever the new one was.
2097?
I forget what year it was.
Blade Runner 2307. Oh
no!
Okay.
By the way, you can continue to try to save this movie because someone needs to.
I'll be the hero that this country deserves.
So he stands. He's like getting ready to meet his team, and he's standing there, a boy Bishop,
right.
And you see a guy walks up, and he leans on the wall, and he's like, "Ishmael, I can't believe it's you." And Ishmael walks up, and he's just like, "It's good to see you, brother. How come you never came to me when this was happening?" And I'm like, "Dog, his wife died. How did you not go to him? How did you not think he might be messed up about that?"
Bob, I think you mean, "It's good to see you, brother. How come you never came to me?" Because he has the worst Southern accent.
Worst accent. It's not even... And I'll tell you this. The reason I forgot was because I was remembering at the end of the movie when he's dropped the accent.
But no, at the start of it, he has
at the start of this movie, he has a very bad, thick accent, and it's awful. And so he says they do the Spartan salute, and he's all in it again. And so then our boy Bishop is now in a meeting room, and he's seeing the details of the mission, and Trajan's standing there. I don't know why he doesn't have somebody in between General and the team to deliver these orders, but he's standing there, he's telling them about the mission, and he's like, okay, we've got word that there's a Noid out there, Ash 393. That's what they call him. It's just a cool name, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ash 393 is out there. He's the one who stole your daughter. He's the one that killed your wife. Go out there, kill him, bring him back. Bring back your daughter if you can. This isn't a...
Is Commander Bishop like a big mucky muck?
A what?
What?
Was he like kind of like a big, like one of like the top dogs in the war?
I mean, he was he was supposedly a good soldier.
Was his wife also a soldier?
She was a scientist. Remember, she was working in the lab.
Okay, I didn't.
This
remember.
is a personal thing for him.
Okay.
Okay. So then you meet the rest of the team, and so you've got the people on the team are Bishop. You've got Ishmael. You've got a guy who, if I remember correctly, dies so fast I don't remember his name. Then you've got El Hata, who has some kind of Jamaican accent, I think, except it's not really a Jamaican accent. It's like a pseudo Jamaican accent. And then we've got Kix. Kix is like a short-haired girl. She carries Mein Kampf with her.
What?
I was hoping that could be just as much of a surprise as it was to us, but you spoiled it. Yeah.
I mean, no, she carries it in this scene.
Really?
Wait.
Yeah, in the introduction, like the first thing we see of her, she's holding Mein Kampf in her hand.
At first I was wait, I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't want to. Yeah. Okay.
So she's a Nazi.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
So
they'll just take anybody, I guess?
Hold on. I want to ask a question unrelated to Mein Kampf. Where are all these people getting all these accents?
Very carefully.
Like if everybody lives in an underground bunker and you can't go outside, then
they're passed down through their family.
Well, okay, is it maybe like...
But
okay,
300...
so
I mean, my parents come from India. They have Indian accents. I was born here, surrounded by people with this accent, and I have a very slight lisp as a result. My kids will almost certainly not have the lisp.
Okay, wait, so it's been 144 years and they all live in
it's been more than 300 years.
More than 300 years, okay. And it's been winter for years.
Yeah.
For centuries now.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh. So yeah, no, they should have all blended into, maybe they should all talk like weird in some way because...
Please don't.
Guys.
That's what they did with After Earth and it sounded awful.
Guys.
But at least that makes sense because like we're all together. No?
Guys, I can answer it in a sentence. They did not think of that.
Yeah.
They did not think. They wanted cool, varied characters, so they thought like, let's just get crazy accents.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It does sound like they got the whole band together with the cast of people, guy who dies,
Ishmael,
foreign,
Al Hata,
but But why did they feel they needed to bring a Nazi to the party? Also, how are there Nazis in this world?
Okay, so this is going to be clear, but it's also going to...
Not be clear at all.
The symbolism of it is going to hit you over the head like it's trying to kill you.
Yeah, symbolism is in like big air quotes because there's nothing really symbolic. It's just...
Yeah, it's like anything that could have been a symbol gets spelled out for you.
Okay.
So we've got the team, and Kix is already very dismissive of Bishop. She's like, this guy's all washed up, blah blah blah, and he kind of just ignores her verbal abuse or whatever, her insubordination.
As he should.
And he says like, okay, here's the team, here's the deal, here's what we're gonna do. Bishop stands up. He looks, for one shot, I remember this very clearly, for one shot he looks like he's drenched in sweat. And then the camera angle changes and he's like, again, not drenched in sweat. And I gotta say, that's weird.
Yeah.
I mean,
he just felt it all at once, and then it was over.
Very anxious, like and then like all good, cool, cool as a cucumber.
Yeah.
And so he tells the team, "We're going," and everyone goes, "Hoorah!" And then they get in a big. Oh yeah, I guess there's a sequence where he says some more one-liners while we see him go through this a process of them putting like subdermal insulation to keep him from being from freezing to death out there in the cold. But who cares?
Yeah, like they inject the people going up to the surface, with this subdermal insulation or something that will, like keep them warm for 4 days.
But it has no visual effect on what they look
so
like.
Why can't they? Why couldn't they just do that for everyone instead of having to make?
Oh, it lasts 72 hours. And he says, "Will we have enough time?" And he's like, "You better." And I'm like, "What the hell does that mean?"
Trajan, it's like a temporary
Trajan,
thing.
what are you talking about?
I think they
and Trajan's like, "We're gonna send you up there with the best of the best gear. It's electronic guns, electronic grenades, electronic this thing, electronic that thing." And he says, "Sir, I would like to request that we get 1,000 rounds of regular ammunition and some real guns and like 30 grenades each." And he says like, "Well, I don't know why you would need that." And he's like, "Well, outside of the just away from our zone, there's some kind of magnetic disruption that will stop electronic equipment, and so I can't do this. Like, no." And Trajan's like, "Fine, jeez." And he gives him his archaic non-electronic gear. It doesn't matter anyways, because Trajan says, "We've got the gear we're giving you would work outside it doesn't matter." It's a lot of talking about nothing. They're opening their mouths and words are coming out, and I'm just like,
But Bob, they're going deep into the dead zone.
The dead zone.
The dead zone. Yeah.
That's a cool sounding phrase.
Yeah, it's the dead zone because magnetic fields, electronic things die and whatever.
Very early on in the dead zone, he sees a polar bear, which is like, this is Arizona. But he sees a polar bear and he goes, "I guess not everything's dead in the dead zone." And I'm like, No, duh! You know that! You're out here hunting noids!
To go back a little bit, I think they had the whole sequence of him getting, injected with all the stuff and whatever, so that they could have the shot of like, he steps into the like big tube that closes in, and then like fog fills in and you hear him screaming and there's like electrical pulses, and then, it opens up again and he lives out, and it's like it's supposed to be like real cool, but it's just kind of like
You remember when Willem Dafoe became Green Goblin?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was like that, but way cool. Less cool.
Okay, so remember when you were happy?
Yeah, remember. Call back that memory real quick. Call back that memory real quick and just really sit in it, because you're never gonna be happy while watching this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you
got it.
Yeah. So so they get up to the surface. They're in like a Jeep or whatever, and they're driving and they're having the good old fashioned military banter. Hoorah!
One-liners.
They say. Hoorah! They say.
One-liners, all insulting each other, but it's in the name of brotherhood. But it's like, all bad.
"Oh, you have a small penis. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, well, you something something something. Ha 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 ha. Hoorah!" They keep saying hoorah. I'm like, stop saying hoorah. I know you're in the military. Yeah. I get it. And so they see someone, they get a heat signature out in the distance, and they're like, "Who is that?" "Nah, I don't know what that is." And we see like a close-up, and it's a Noid, and they're fishing at like a little ice hole. And I'm like, this is Arizona. Where are the underground lakes? Like, where are they?
It's been 300 years.
Under ice!
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It is kind of... I don't want to, like, jump too far ahead, but with how the scene develops, it's like, how is that water? What? I'll bring it.
Anyways, so they're doing a little ice hole fishing or whatever, and they fish up a little fish, and Kix gets up into the gunner seat, and then is waiting to fire on this guy, And so Bishop says, like, state your name and purpose for being out here. You have 3 seconds before we declare you an enemy combatant or something like that. And it's like,
Right.
if you'd shut up for a second, maybe they could declare their name and purpose. But then you say, like, 3, 2, 1. And then, like, Kix goes, I'm taking the shot. And he's like, no, Kix, don't. And then Kix goes ahead and does it anyway.
I've got to describe this a little more because it does kind of blow me away with, like, so they park the Jeep, the enclosed, whatever, with all of them. And Kix is, like, ready to, like, take the shot with the big machine gun on top. And, Bishop calls out over the intercom and excuse me. He says all that. He says, state your name and your purpose. And obviously the Noid just kind of looks up like,
God, I just thought of the Domino's Noid again.
And so, Bishop goes like, if, you have until, and I'll count down. And if you don't say anything, I'll fire something. So, 3, 2, 1. And then I swear, like, 30 seconds pass. After he said 1. Like, everyone's just waiting. Like, he gives him 3, 2, 1, and then another, like, 30 seconds. Honestly, I'm with Kix. I wanted them to take the shot already.
Well, you wanted them to take the shot so something would happen in the film.
Like, they tried to have it be dramatic, that kind of thing, but they extended it out way too long to where you start to think, so are they just gonna sit there?
Yeah, well, they just sit there. And the Noid, the Noid is fishing, pulls up a fish, and then, like, they're wearing, like, a cloak so they can cover their face, so it's like, oh, that's all mysterious and stuff. And then, like, when the Jeep pulls up and they start yelling at him, he, like, unhooks the fish from his rod and slips it back in the water. And I'm like, oh. So I guess you don't need the fish anymore.
You have to restock the lake.
Yeah. And so then they open fire, and when they open fire, he's gone, but they have no sign of him being there.
Right. So in that 30 seconds, in that 30 seconds they give him, they're like having the standoff or whatever, and then the Noid stands up, tosses the cloak off, and pulls out flares.
Oh yeah.
And so he like is waving the flares around and creating smoke. And that's when Kix goes like, I'm taking the shot! And just blasts the area with like 100 energy machine gun rounds. And by the time Bishop finally yells at her enough...
he pulls her off the gun
pulls
and
her
he
off
says,
the
like,
thing.
this is insubordination. And she says, damn you, Bishop! I had the shot lined up! And I'm like, you took the shot.
Yeah.
Like,
but
why are you...
So...
the Noid is just gone.
Yeah, the Noid is gone. They get out of the truck, and they're like, I don't know why they're not driving up, but they get out of the truck, and they start heading over with their guns, and they're like, I wonder where that Noid is. And then behind them, the truck blows up.
Cool.
Okay, so Kix's existence, though, kind of brings me back to the whole, like, membership's been way down theory.
Yeah, why they allow Kix in? Don't worry, you'll be asking that question a lot more.
Okay.
So this is where...
Also, I'd like to provide you an opportunity to ask the question that I said you'd be asking throughout this. Oh, why is this movie?
Why is this movie?
Why is this movie? So what happens is they walk up.
Okay.
They walk up to the hole in the ice, and the one member who has not been named, but I have his name down. His name is Subutai. And the only note I have,
Wait, I'm sorry. One more time.
He's an
Wait,
Asian dude, so his
Subutai,
name is Asian.
Subutai. Okay.
The only note I have for him is dies first.
Oh, because he's Asian.
That's his only trait. He walks up to the ice hole, looks in it. I think he fires a few shots in it, but then he turns around and it's like, there's nothing, Commander. And just then the Noid pops out from the water hole, grabs Subutai, and drags him in. And Bishop's like, no, Subutai! And Bishop runs over and reaches into the ice, and everyone runs after him and pulls Bishop's arm back out, and it is frozen. Solid. It's
and that begs the question, if his arm gets frozen solid...
So he has no arm?
It's
if his arm is frozen solid, why isn't the water frozen solid?
Yeah, like, that's not how
anything
work.
Works.
But
is it
they have to
liquid nitrogen down there?
Yes, that's it.
So They have to like inject his arm with something to get it to start working again. But yeah, it's like a block of ice, and Subutai is gone. So yeah.
Well, Subutai.
We literally hardly knew ye.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you
his name apparently.
One more thing about him.
Yeah.
So then
I like him more than Kix.
And so then, since they all do that, then they're away from the truck, and the truck just blows up.
Right. That's when the truck.
Oh.
Yeah, and so they're like, the Noids. They destroyed our gear.
Yeah, which, I mean, I guess, like, that's why he was waving the flares to, like, indicate, like, go get them, boys. But, like, it's a big empty plane.
Yeah, it's flat.
There's two things for you to look at. There's the Noid fishing and the truck.
Yeah, there's nowhere for anyone else to be.
I mean, there's nowhere for anyone to hide, but also, like, why do you need flares to tell your friends? They've been driving a loud-ass truck.
They planned that for the signal, and they just,
He stuck with the signal even though he didn't need a signal.
Yeah. You have to stick with the plan, otherwise people get confused.
I guess. Yeah, okay. Well, I barely... okay, so there's a long section of this movie that I hardly remember, so I'm going to need Connor to pick up.
Yeah, I've got the notes. I've got the notes for the next section. All right, so...
thank God.
So their vehicle blows up, and they, they can't salvage it, so now they've got to go on foot, and they're down basically all their supplies, So then, next scene, and there's a bunch more cool narration that I don't remember, but they enter, like, this empty city. Like, there's a bunch of buildings, but they're all, like, hollowed out. No one's in them, so-and-so. And so
it's
they
supposed to be Phoenix, but, like... okay.
So they enter this, building, and they say, okay, let's split up. Oh, yeah, because they, like, get annoyed on their heat signature or something.
Yeah, not only that, I just remembered this. There's a puddle of blood, like red blood, on the ground, like on the snow, and El Hata, like, he dips his fingers in it and he licks it, and he goes, "The blood is fresh, but it's not human."
What?
And I'm like, how do you know?
Wait.
What does that mean? Are you a vampire?
Wait.
What?
But humanoid's blood is black.
Correct.
So you can just look at it and
So this is human.
know.
Yeah, this is not human blood.
It's also not Noid blood.
So he's just...
It's not Noid blood either.
So he's just like some wolf was bleeding, maybe.
Yeah, maybe like
something.
a deer or something.
Yeah. I'm gonna lick its blood off the snow.
But, like,
So I guess...
How does he
he's
even
just...
know?
So let's pretend that it's possible to know that.
Okay.
He's just alerting the group like someone was hungry? Is that like his point?
Maybe.
Like someone was just eating?
I mean, they're not alone.
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
fresh blood, so...
Just
a
letting
Noid
him
is
know
potentially
that...
hunting in this area or something.
Or...
Yeah, so they're still hunting down Ash 393, and so they're looking for Ash in this, empty,
Hold on,
abandoned
I
building.
gotta pause one more time, just real quick. There's blood on the snow. It's not a trail of blood; it's a single spot of blood, and there's no footprints anywhere.
Yes.
So was it a bird bleeding, or maybe a very high jumping deer?
Yeah.
How does it leave no tracks?
In the 300 years that humans did not disrupt the surface, Arctic deer
flight.
developed pogo legs. Yeah.
Well, I guess if the Noid was hunting me, like unhinged his jaw and just like that was just like the part that.
So did
was
he
left?
unhinge his feet too, so he didn't need to walk? What are you talking about?
I don't know. I'm trying to. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You need to be the hero of this movie. Well, doesn't deserve.
You need to be the hero we deserve.
We deserve. Try to save this movie for us.
Yeah.
Well.
Not right now.
I guess-
Connor's still going.
Right.
Oh. Okay.
So-
So.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, Connor. Okay, so there's all their supplies are out, right?
Yeah.
And when you were watching it, did it feel like, okay, this totally didn't have to go down this way?
Or did it like make sense that they were like that
Okay.
this is where they found themselves?
I'm sorry.
I think there are 100 ways this could have gone.
Nothing in this movie made sense. Can we just...
Yeah, nothing in this movie makes sense.
And nothing in
Okay.
the movie needed to happen the way it did. Like, I mean, like, if your job is to kill noids, which is what their job is, they're supposed to, like, the Spartans are supposed to kill noids that have escaped. That's their job. So, if that's your job, and you've got a truck, and there's this dude just sitting there, just run him over.
Yeah.
Okay,
I forget.
Bob.
Why did they make
like,
noise?
who cares? Just like you see him in the distance, you see he's annoyed, just hit him with your car.
Bob,
Wait,
they're not
okay.
uncivilized, okay?
Yes, they are. One of them's a Nazi.
Wait, okay.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. All right, get all your questions out of the way. I'm just gonna wait until everyone's done
I
with
guess
questions.
my last question, and then we can go back, is just, I don't remember if you already said, why did they make noise? Because they made them to survive the cold weather to fetch resources. I just don't understand why they're hunting
Yeah, to
them.
basically be mules and such. And then the Noids...
They call them mules, too.
Yeah, like, the Noids, like, developed smartness and had a rebellion that was, again, never actually
I
seen.
don't know why people keep doing that in these movies.
Well, okay. Let's
Mankind
say
is a crazy creature. I
let's
don't know.
say okay. Well, consider this. Let's say there's 2,000 people who've survived this nuclear winter. Right? We're all underground. We have limited resources down here. Instead of developing farming, why don't we develop slaves
Yep.
that require food and
I feel like they work too hard.
why you're working harder, not smarter. You should really be working on farming.
Okay, I'm done. Please continue.
Okay. All right. So they're searching through this abandoned building for a Noid potentially. And by the way, so since Subutai is out of the picture, when they had their bad conversations earlier, Subutai pretty much just provided silence between all the bad one-liners. So now everyone is saying dramatic bad one-liners back to back to back to back.
Yeah, he was kind of the space in between.
It's so annoying, honestly.
Annoying
But
and kind of
Super
cringy.
yeah, so they split up. They split up to find this thing. The first time we watched that, when they split up, I was like, "What are you, Scooby Doo?"
Yeah, don't split the
I was
party.
like, "Come on, movie, try harder than that." But
Everyone knows that.
so El Hata and Kix are one team, and Bishop and Ishmael are the other. And so El Hata and Kix just insult each other back and forth.
I'm Jamaican. I'm a Nazi. I'm Jamaican. I'm a Nazi. Just imagine that over.
I wrote parentheses, shut up, exclamation point, on my notes here. But, so they come across this figure slumped over a table in the middle of a room open to the environment. It's kind of weird. But this dude, okay, imagine they got Rob Zombie to guest star in this movie, because this dude also, no, they took the wig and the beard that Bishop had at the start and just put it on this guy, probably. So this figure has long hair and whatever, and he's also just slouched over a table, and they walk up to him and poke him, and no response. And so of course, I think it's El Hata who leans really close in, closer than anyone has any right to ever do to any other person.
Or anything, really.
Yeah. And that's when you get jump scared by the figure standing up and attacking El Hata, and it just starts beating them up. This figure just starts wrecking them.
Yeah, and you're aren't you supposed to be highly trained soldiers? What are you doing?
And this guy is roaring as well. It's really weird. And he has the weirdest teeth. I swear. He has you know how some cartoon characters have teeth that are just sharp triangles?
Yes.
This guy literally has that.
He's a shark.
Yeah, not just sharp triangles,
he's
sharp
very
interlocking triangles.
Right, that kind of thing.
Oh.
So the figure runs off, Bishop and Ishmael run over, then the figure beats up on them, and then, like, the guy, like, while roaring and whatever, bites into Ishmael's neck like a zombie and rips a chunk out of his neck, and I'm like, I'm just like, what? What is going on?
This took a really gory turn.
What is going on? And also,
why is this movie
going on?
Why is this movie? Yeah.
And so eventually, like, through, like, Elhada and Bishop team up on it and stab the thing in the back. The thing gets back up, but then Kix, who has a, like, energy machine gun, or not, like a minigun, by the way. Yeah, just like heavy from TF2, just fills this thing full of lead, or full of energy.
Yeah,
which,
whatever,
by the way,
plasma, whatever.
all of this is happening while Ishmael is lying on the ground with a big wound in his neck. Like, literally, it's like a comedy for a second. They fill this thing full of lead, and this thing falls down, like, on top of him.
Yeah.
And, like, so...
It's almost like they're trying to make you laugh about it, and it's like, what? What is the tone? What are you doing?
And it is.
It is not intended to be a comedy, no.
No, it's just like... Because then, like, the other three, you know, Bishop, Kix, and Elhada, are, like...
Yeah.
Once again, quipping about it and joking and saying bad one-liners, all while Ishmael is like, guys, help me up! Like, they're riffing over their friend.
Yeah, Bishop is his friend. Like, they talk, he's like, hey, brother, like, they talk to each other like they're friends. And Bishop is also supposed to be this, like, traumatized, battle-weary... Like, nah, he's got time for good old one-liners while his buddy's dying on the ground. A soldier, like, there's so many layers to why it's inappropriate for him to be telling jokes right now. He's the commander of this soldier, he's his commanding officer, it's his friend, he's world-weary. Why are all of these things, like, why is he telling jokes?
Yeah, I was going to say, isn't Ishmael was like his good friend?
It was his good bud.
Okay, but now he's got a wound in his neck.
Yeah,
but
they get him up, but yeah, like no one's taking it seriously.
Even though he's bleeding a lot.
And I don't know in the future, because it's the future. Do they have like healing stuff? Like, are they gonna like zap him better later,
apparently
or is he
they
just
did
gonna
it
have like a big band-aid?
I mean, they unfroze an arm, so.
Yeah, I mean, he is probably full of, like, numbing agents or something, but... No, like, he's injured. Like, he's limping as they walk away from this abandoned city. And, wait. There was the neck thing. Did he get injured in some other way? Because, yeah, he was really, like, limping, like he broke his leg or something when he got bitten in the neck. Like, now that I think about it, now that I reflect on it, it was... I
think somewhere in the fight he got punched in the leg, and that was like, oh, that's bad. I don't like my leg getting punched like that.
Right. So, the group... the group checks the body, and it turns out that was a mutated humanoid, and so it had hair, and they're like, but humanoids don't have hair.
And also sharp teeth.
I'm sorry, you made that voice a little too cool.
But humanoids don't have hair.
There you go.
TNT Greg.
So, yeah. So it's like, oh man, you know, maybe there's, I don't know, some genetic mutations.
Also,
some weird things
so if this is a mutated noid, first of all, why did it mutate sharp teeth that wouldn't be good for biting anything? Also,
they're good for neck biting,
apparently.
I guess. But also, did it evolve red blood? Because there was the whole reason you came in here was because there was a
I think
spot of red blood that was
they were implying
not human.
That it was an animal. The thing
that's
attacked.
What I thought. But we never see the animal.
Right.
Oh, I mean, wait. Wasn't this where there were some like animal corpses that were supposed to be like fresh kills?
I love the band Animal Corpse.
Okay. Wait, yeah, so I think that's what they're getting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Something like that.
so they move on. They continue to
Okay.
hunt Ash 393, and so they come upon a shack. How far have they walked? Who knows? It's a shack. And
How
have
much
walked.
time has passed?
who knows? Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So they and
Hold on,
Ishmael's
keep
not.
in mind, in between each of these scenes, just imagine cameras panned out, they're walking across the cold expanse, and you're hearing one-liners and narration. He's like, Mara, it's only me in the cold now. And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
So do you feel like this movie could have benefited from timestamp?
I think it could have benefited from like a whole, like just a full-on cancellation.
It could have benefited from time skips, as in me hitting the fast forward and skip scene buttons.
Okay.
They really, if it's possible to blow your budget on free B-roll clips, they did that with like winter shots and, Arctic landscapes.
There's one special effects shot later on where you can tell that if they had spent less of the budget on B-roll, they might have been able to get decent looking ice effects, but they didn't.
Okay, so they're hunting Ash 393. Ishmael's not doing too good. They get to a random shack. They see the door's unlocked, so they open it. It's empty inside. They regroup, and Bishop opens a crate and pulls out like a hunting bow. And I think it's Kix who sees that and just immediately gets really whiny. It's like, great, so now we've become the hunted? And it's like, Kix, shut up. Like, everyone's saying bad one-liners, but Kix is the worst.
And I don't think we're supposed to like Kix, but they've really gone overboard with making us not like Kix. Like, I would understand if they were like, okay, she's a Nazi, but she's also kind of funny, and then we're like conflicted about her. No, they want no conflict in our hearts. They want us to think she's bad and awful, and that's it.
She's rebellious and loud, and I guess suddenly defeatist. I don't know.
I mean, like, it's like 3,000 or whatever, but like, I just don't understand. 2307, yeah. But, I just, and if you're gonna be a Nazi, I guess be a Nazi, go for it or whatever. But it doesn't sound like she's really good at, like, soldiering. So even if I don't like her as a, like, some movies it's like, I hate you, but you do a good job.
Yeah, no, they didn't do that either. She's not good at soldiering either. None of them really are, but, like, she seems especially bad.
Yeah, she's like the bratty cousin that you don't want to take with you, but your parents
make
you.
Like, no, you have to. Like, if you're gonna take your siblings and yourself and your other cousins, you have to take Kevin, your snotty cousin who you don't like.
So she's a Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, she's Scrappy Doo.
She's Scrappy Doo, exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine Scrappy Doo, but with a Hitler mustache, and you've got her.
Oh, okay. Okay, sorry. So they regroup, and Ishmael's like, "Go on without me. I'm just weighing you down." And it's like, "No, I never leave a soldier behind."
He says moments before he leaves the soldier behind.
Yeah, because basically, like within the span of like 2 more lines back and forth, they decide to leave
says, like,
Ishmael there, and like Bishop
come back
hands
for you, and he's like,
Bishop hands him a pistol,
man.
and it's like, if this is gonna be your last stand, give it all you've got, or something like that. I don't know. So then they leave the shack and continue on.
See, I feel like I'd like to know how far in they are, because maybe they could have just, like,
how far in what?
hit.
The dead zone or in the movie?
Either one.
Wait, what's the
In
what's
the
the
dead zone,
difference?
they're about 10 feet into the dead zone.
Oh,
and
right.
we're about 10 minutes into the movie.
They do. Okay, maybe further than that. They do further than that, I believe. But they do. Bishop does step out to try to call for evac, and he's talking with General Trajan when the signal starts to break up.
Oh, no.
And Bishop never gets to call for evac. So,
And he never even tries to call again.
So yeah, they leave Ish there like, evac's coming, buddy. Stay alive,
here.
make it through the night or something. And then they leave him and keep going on.
So
Another.
now it's El Hata, Kix,
Kix
and
and
Bishop,
Bishop.
our 3 favorite characters.
Right.
Honestly, the three least normal characters.
Right.
And El Hata's only not normal because of his accent. Like, otherwise, he's a fairly normal dude.
Well, he...
At this point.
Yeah. His one-liners always seem to be more over the top than they
That's
should
true.
be. But
He's
like,
basically a racist
I will
stereotype,
rip
so never
out
mind.
that Noid's heart and,
that's
rip
true,
his
yeah.
throat off and whatever.
He does say
like,
weird stuff like that, yeah.
He's also... Yeah. So, another, like, B-roll montage of... windy Arctic snow and stuff.
Badass line.
Yeah, Bishop probably thinks about Mara some more.
I'm very cool, Mara. I'm so cool. I'm gonna get our daughter back.
So they come to. I'm gonna describe this like an icy Grand Canyon, but imagine the crevice is only like 30 feet, but still like the shot looks onto the side of them, and this crevasse like literally stretches off into the horizon. Literally the only way across this sudden crevasse is like the tiniest little bridge. It's like a radio tower fell over on its side. And
yeah, I mean, can I just say, while watching this movie for, I think this is now the third time I've seen this film, I got the vibe that I get when I'm really out of my element and trying to make stuff up on the fly while playing D&D. Like, if I'm DMing and, like, I really have no idea, but I'm feeling really lazy and I just want to railroad my players through certain events, this is the kind of dumb crap that I pull. like any bad DMs pull this kind of stuff all the time. So you come up to a crevasse. Is there a way for us to walk around? The farther you walk to the east, it just continues. Okay, we walk west. It just continues. It's a crack the size of the earth. Like, there's no way for them to walk around it, so they have to traverse it. And so they put down, what is this thing? It's just like a ladder? Not even a ladder. It's just like a radio tower, but it's like very thin.
Yeah.
And they walk across it.
There's some real awful CGI or green screen work here.
Yeah.
It gets worse later on, but this is pretty bad.
Yeah. Little column A, little column B.
But yeah,
you would think something like this would be done at least sort of practically.
Yeah.
Nah.
It's got a lot of tension as, Bishop takes the lead and he steps on this thing and it's all creaky and groany and he gets halfway across and he looks down and it's really far down, and it's like, whoa, is he gonna fall? No, he doesn't even come close. None of them come close. There's a lot of tension, nothing happens. Literally, it's like they just get across it and keep walking.
Yep.
Oh, well, I'm glad for them then.
They didn't even lose anything. It's not even like he like a coin falls out of his pocket and he goes, "No, my change," and nothing.
Right.
Because that would have been an event.
How close is he to his daughter?
We haven't seen her at all.
Well, he didn't. He didn't know.
His daughter was taken literally as a baby, an unborn baby.
And it's been 5 years since then, so...
And he didn't even know that she was taken until, that day.
Just now.
So we don't have any idea how close they are to anything.
I actually have written down on my sheet of characters, below Mara, I have Mora ? And I thought that was the daughter's name for a little bit, but it's not. But, Mara accidentally is Mora a few times in this movie.
In the... Is that in the subtitles, or is that in the... is that just
probably
what
in the
he
subtitles, but it probably doesn't say it right, and the subtitles got messed up. But
or the accent.
There's a lot of there's a lot of there's a lot of issues with the subtitles in this movie.
So after they cross the bridge over the Pit of Doom, they come to the Haunted Woods. And I mean, once again, it's so set piecey. They're standing right outside this tree line where behind them and around them is flat snow, nothing. And in front of them is the thickest woods you've ever seen.
That's called haunted.
Yeah, it doesn't peter out. Doesn't peter out. It's like, here's the end of the woods. From here on out, no woods.
Yeah.
Here on in, only woods.
I think one of the characters maybe says something about it being haunted. because I did write that down. Yeah. And their pulse rifles stop working. Like, they're in the dead zone now.
Oh, their electronic weapons don't work.
They look in the woods and see, like, a figure standing there with, like, a hood over its face. And Kix just, I don't know, yells something and just runs in after it screaming. Like, I'm gonna kill you! Ah! It just runs
This
in.
would be a good time for us to, like, flash back to Zach saying she doesn't seem like a good soldier. She doesn't seem good at soldiering. Because that's true. I mean, she just isn't a good soldier. That's not even insubordination. That's just poor decision making.
You can, in several scenes, you could see the moment she messes the plans up. She's that kind of character. She's Scrappy-Doo.
Yeah?
So she runs in.
Hang on, can I just say, I'm pretty sure in Scooby-Doo, Scrappy-Doo's role was not to mess up their plans.
But he did.
But he was... no, I mean, like, they didn't write him every time as the thing that screws up their plans, right?
Well, no, I mean, usually he was always rushing into jams, and then Scooby-Doo and Shaggy were going to make a sandwich, but they're like, oh no, we got to go get Scrappy-Doo now.
Man, Scooby-Doo was a great show.
Yeah. Okay, so Kix runs in. They run after her. It's like they kind of chase this thing, but that doesn't really develop. Like, they lose it. They lose the figure. And then El Hada just... It's like he goes berserker mode. He just yells, like, real violent things, like, I'm gonna rip off your head, blah, 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 blah.
You have messed with the wrong man!
Oh, yeah. It's so over the top.
And it's he didn't even do anything to you this time.
Because he was mad
he killed,
at what
like,
they did
2 of
to
your friends.
Sticks?
Yeah. El Hada was so mad that he didn't get to kill this Noid that he just, like, loses it. And, I don't know, yells out a bunch, but that's where that goes. And then it turns nighttime.
Oh, wait.
And then we see something wonderful.
Yeah.
We see, this is what Connor and I call Canadian Night.
It's the blue filter, right?
Yeah, right. It's where it's clearly a daytime shot. And they just throw blue on it, and they say, trust us, it's night. And we're all going, no! I know! It's not night! The shadows are too stark. You're showing us the sun!
Oh, yeah. Yeah, in this movie... Oh. Yeah, in this movie, several times during night, the sun is clearly...
And don't they even...
in frame.
The
like,
camera.
The camera is like, Kix is on the left of the frame, there's El Hata on the right of the frame, and right in the middle of the frame is the sun. And you're like...
Is it...
How am I supposed to believe this is night? Is that a particularly bright supernova?
Is it this movie?
What am I seeing?
Is it this movie that the characters reference the sun and call it the moon? Or is that another movie?
No, okay. I think that was a different movie.
Because I've seen that before.
I've seen that too, yeah.
Right, but most low-budget movies that have Canadian Night at least don't have it for too long. This night scene goes on forever. There's so much Canadian Night.
Yeah. And this is where we get a good long stretch of an explanation of why Kix is a Nazi.
Right. Because
So El Hata, who I guess has never read any history book before, says like, "What's in that book of yours? You're always reading it. What's in that book?" And I'm like, "How do you not know?
Maybe he can't read.
Did nobody ever tell you?"
Yeah, so
it's still in print.
Yes.
Yeah. So Kix and El Hata are sitting around a fire. Bishop's trying to go to bed, and Kix is reading Mein Kampf,
like just sections of it aloud for the audience,
reading it out loud as well. And it's
and she draws this conclusion. Book? She says, like, look, he was talking about something about like she reads a section about like humans are greater than people, like Aryans, true Aryans are better than non-Aryans because something, or it's racist, boilerplate Nazi stuff. And so then she draws the analogy that she's saying like, well, the things that the non-humans he was talking about, the non-Aryans he was talking about, are like the humanoids, and he was ahead of his time. And you're like,
Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, I get it, movie. Racism bad. I get it.
Yeah.
And like the movie's like, no, we're not done. And then the scene goes on so long, where she just keeps explaining the metaphor of like, oh, when Hitler said I don't like Jews, what I take from that is that I don't like humanoids. Get it, audience? Are you too stupid to understand?
She says, everything she says, like, makes it so it's like, she doesn't state anything so specific as like these, hyperbole statements that Bob's coming up with. Like, they have it so it's like.
I mean, it's pretty direct. She does in fact say.
Right, but like, God, what am I trying to say?
I mean,
it's very obviously
she reads a section of the book where Hitler specifically used the word humanoid.
Oh.
Right.
To refer to people who are non-Aryan, and she like takes that very literally and like reads it aloud and then says like he was talking about this thing. And like I don't remember the exact wording. She's not implying that Hitler knew that humanoids existed, right? She's not saying that. She's saying that she's understanding, she's recontextualizing what he said.
Right. I do have
the quote-unquote modern age. But like such obvious, like it's not even symbolism.
Right. I do have screen caps I took with the subtitles Mein Kampf helps me understand what I'm hunting, and Adolf Hitler was a fallen prophet. Yeah, like that's actual dialogue. But yeah, just soak it in. She is reading Mein Kampf to the black guy.
Yeah, this movie.
By the way, she's reading it to the black guy, and Bishop is Indian, so
I definitely feel like that was completely just like unaware on that, because they're like, oh man, this is going to be great. It's going to be so symbolic about this movie, our message and whatever, and they just didn't even, they just overlooked the rest.
Right. I mean, I think maybe they thought it might add to the message.
Maybe.
Because they were dumb enough to think that they needed to tell this message like the rest of the world isn't aware.
Yeah. They tried to make a statement and they just made it ridiculous. That's how I'll describe it. Oh, and this is where they have the conversation about that it was actually an asteroid that caused this, and that the asteroid was actually...
It looked like a nuke.
Yeah, I have the notes, asteroid was atomic bomb, inside job,
Oh yeah,
I think
he says it's an inside job. It always is.
I feel like...
Yeah, which is weird. Okay. Okay, buddy. Yeah.
George Bush did 7/11.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
George Bush did 3/11.
Yeah. So Bishop is just like, oh, shut up, Kix. I'm trying to sleep or something. And Kix.
Yeah, that's another thing. He says, she says all this stuff, and then he says, well, if you're so, you're so energetic right now, because she's like getting all enthusiastic about the book. He says, well, if you're so energetic right now, you should take first watch. And she looks at him and grits her teeth and goes, "Urgh!" And I'm like, what? How? You're insubordinate. You're yelling at the top of your lungs in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to make you take first watch. You're being a real a-hole right now.
And also, while she grits her teeth in anger, El Hada just laughs and laughs and laughs.
Which is maybe the best reaction to being told a bunch of Nazi stuff.
Yeah.
She doesn't get to sleep.
So yeah, Bishop's like, Kix, shut up. And Kix is all like, God, I don't remember the dialogue super well, but it's like, you need to know what you're hunting, Bishop, or else they'll
you're all washed
destroy
up,
you or something. And like, I don't know exactly, I don't remember the dialogue, but like, she makes a fake gun with her hand, like,
she
points
says,
the fingers out.
As soon as you screw up, Bishop, and she points her finger guns at Bishop, and it's like, bam.
Why is she
and I'm
here?
like, you're threatening your commander.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, like, what are you doing?
How did she get put on this mission?
I don't know.
I would have thought one of the first questions would be like, you gonna be cool listening to your commander? And she's like, I don't know. Maybe. And then they'll be like, no, get out of here.
Yeah. Kix's like army profile or whatever, like I guarantee you, like her first descriptor is like rebellious.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh my
And like
God.
it's like one of those things where like if you had like a military badge with like a picture on it, her picture would be her like close like winking and like sticking her tongue out and middle finger in the air like I'm a punk. Ah!
Yeah.
And we'd all be like, oh my God, stop trying so hard.
Kix is like the movie Tank Girl brought to life. That's how I'll describe
You
it.
mean brought to film like the film Tank Girl?
Brought back to film.
Yeah, not incarcerated. Incarnated as a character.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right. So that happens. Transition. It's still Canadian Night. It's just a little
A
later
different
on.
part of Canadian.
Again, yeah.
A little later on.
A
The only
darker
reason we
blue
know it's
filter.
later on is because that's traditionally how time works, not because
Right.
the night looks any different.
Oh my goodness.
It looks
So-
exactly the same.
Right. So I think Kix sees the figure again and mentions it, and El Hada runs after it. You know, he's like, I'm going to get my
I'm
kill
going to hunt
finally.
this humanoid!
Yeah,
It's like-
and then he runs off screaming at the top of his lungs, like, okay.
I know, just a refresher because it's been a minute. Ishmael's bleeding out in Old
somewhere
Town?
else, yeah.
Yeah, they left his
Okay.
butt behind.
Okay, just checking.
Yeah, Ishmael's gone for most of the movie. Like,
Yeah, it's supposed to be a big twist at the end that he comes back.
Oh, like a Hail Mary?
it's
kind
only a
of.
twist because you've literally forgotten about him.
Yeah,
You're like, who is that? Oh, right!
yeah.
Yeah, there was that character earlier.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's
It's not
exciting.
fun. There's nothing
It's
fun about this movie.
Not fun. So yeah, El Hada runs after the figure, and of course, the figure disappears into the trees immediately.
Yeah.
Because, dude, you
Because Hada's incompetent at his job.
yeah, they've
too.
fallen into this thing's trap for like half of a day by this point. It's kind of like,
I mean, it's basically like if you imagine this movie is kind of the equivalent of like if you imagine you remember that bit. I think it's from Family Guy where he goes, "Ooh, piece of candy.
Yeah.
Ooh, piece
Yeah.
of candy. Ooh, piece of candy." Except every piece of candy's poison. All of them are traps, and they just walk right into the traps, like trap, 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 sleep, trap, 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 trap.
right. So of course, the other two lose track of El Hada. El Hada gets
Which is bizarre because he's screaming at the top of his lungs.
Yeah. El Hada gets by himself, I guess, right where this figure wants him. The figure attacks.
He
fight.
pulls out an axe. They're fighting over the axe.
But yeah, this figure, which I guess is Ash, kills El Hada really easily.
Really easily.
Yeah.
And I'm
it's barely a fight.
Okay, fine. You wanted to make slaves. Why'd you have to make them good at fighting?
In case
Yeah,
they
I don't know.
needed.
In case you wanted to go to war versus the Federation of Montana.
Yeah.
I don't know.
guess.
Or maybe
It's like it's like The Stand all over again.
maybe it was like underground noid fights.
Oh, that would be good. I'd like to
Right.
see a movie about that instead of any of this.
All right. So it's Bishop and Kix, and
They're the
Bishop
last
Bishop
people.
and Kix who are left as and Bishop still has the hunting bow. So there's a scene where like Kix is walking around looking for the
Yeah, she's
Noid.
looking for the Noid, and he's got the bow ready, and he looks, and he sees through the scope of the bow, he sees the Noid is in a tree
Ooh.
right
right
above
Kix.
her. Right above Kix.
Right above
And I'm
her,
like,
like,
how did you not see him? He's a human being.
Yeah.
There's no leaves on this tree. It's just him in a cloak in a like extreme leafless tree. There's
Yeah.
nothing else to look at even. It's just trees in all directions. And
So,
he aims the bow at this guy and hesitates. And I'm like, why are you hesitating?
Because it's kicks.
And
Well,
no, it
no.
doesn't.
no, he
it doesn't-
hesitates.
He hesitates.
Bishop aims the bow at the figure, and then the figure looks at Bishop, and the figure is wearing the necklace that was stolen off of Mara when she died.
And he's like, oh, well, I mean, I don't understand why that's a big deal, because you already think that he stole your daughter.
Wouldn't that be more incentive to just fire?
To shoot him? No, it might be Mara. I don't know.
Oh, well, you said that the humanoids are mutating now,
fine.
so they got
He's
hair.
surprised. But even so, I don't understand why he's surprised at this. Like, if there wasn't this subplot of him trying to find his daughter, then it makes sense, right? He pulls the thing out, and he sees it, and he's like, wait a minute. Is that the guy who shot, like, is that the guy who killed my wife? Like, that would be like, okay, I get it. But you know you're hunting the dude who killed your wife. And you know he took at least one thing from your wife. It wouldn't be hard for him to rip a necklace off while he's delivering a baby.
I mean, Bishop is, like, thrown immediately into another flashback, so it's like, I don't know. He's just really prone to this.
Maybe he's experiencing the flashbacks in real time.
He's really prone to this. Well, yeah, he hesitates. The figure drops down on Kix. Bishop shoots at it, but the arrow misses. The figure runs off pretty much immediately, but Kix is furious. She's like,
you missed the shot from 10 yards away? What are you doing? You're washed up. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, and so just all of a sudden, she's hit her breaking point. So she attacks Bishop, like, to kill him and become the commander or something.
Yeah, if you hadn't gotten unwashed up, I'd be commander.
If you kill the commander, you become the commander.
How would you be commander?
Yeah, you're not very good at, like, the
Not
little
only are you
jobs
not
you've
very
been
good, you're a
given.
greenhorn to this, and Ishmael was supposedly, like, Bishop's friend 5 years ago and was also a Spartan. Why isn't he commander?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
he
maybe
has
she
more
just,
experience.
maybe she just had unrealistic expectations.
Wait. Okay. Bishop leaves after his wife dies.
Mm-hmm.
He becomes a junkie. They're like, we found your daughter, you gotta save her. And they never made it. But he goes straight back to being a commander again. He's okay. They never filled
He puts
that
the uniform on,
position.
and it's like not a day has passed.
Yeah.
Did they say how long he'd been missing for?
5 years.
How long?
5 years.
He was AWOL for 5 years.
He was AWOL for 5 years.
He was AWOL in this small underground complex for 5 years.
He was AWOL for 5 years.
And he hasn't missed. Even though he's been missing for 5 years, I guess he just never misses a day at the firing range.
Yeah.
Well, now Kix, you had 5 years.
You had 5 years to become a commander.
Why did you expect this position yet?
I don't know. She's your bratty cousin who has unrealistic expectations and whines when they don't get what they want.
I want 3 scoops of ice cream.
Yeah.
I didn't put it together. It was 5 years. That's cute that she thought he was the reason she didn't get the job.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Kix fights Bishop, and Bishop really quickly dispatches her. Like, once again, not a fight scene. It's like Kix just gets wrecked.
Just a beating.
Yeah. It's
okay.
It's kind of... You're reciting all this back, it's kind of funny how many of these fight scenes are just so one-sided. You know, but...
if I remember correctly, it's almost every fight scene.
Yeah. Yeah. So she gets her butt kicked and runs off, saying like, I'll get you next time or something. But Bishop gets distracted pretty quickly by, the figure, the humanoid in the cloak, who is scaling a wall of ice like freaking Spider-Man.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Like, it looks like they got, like, they bought a crawling animation for, like, a dude, and then they just turned it
sideways,
like 90 degrees, and they were like, done.
Yeah.
And he just kind of wiggles around and he goes up the wall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. But Bishop goes after him. Bishop pulls out the the ice climbing chisels that I guess he had on him the whole time.
Yeah, pitons or ice axes or whatever they're called.
And so he starts ice climbing up this wall. And he yells out at every step. Ah! Ah! Yeah! It's like, okay, chill.
And I'm like, okay, I get it. It's hard, but like, please.
Also,
I mean, it's cold.
He's a soldier. He needs to calm down.
Yeah.
Well, none of these soldiers, I mean, I know that it's not today's time. It's 2307, Winter's Dream. But none of these soldiers seem to really act cool under pressure. They kind of just
Well, yeah,
don't
of course
plan.
they can't act cool. It's very cold.
Very cold.
It's like it's like the same thing. It's like the same thing those movies like Aliens or Prometheus were built on, where it's like part of the thing, I guess, is supposed to be that no, these aren't, a bunch of disciplined people that their arrogance or whatever is their downfall and gets them in trouble or something. It's just like it goes too far. Again, they just say bad one-liners over and over and over.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't have to...
It's like,
we're
how
gonna
like
watch this after this.
it's like
No.
know how Aliens had one or two cool one-liners. It's
Yeah.
like they thought of that, and Ripley and Vasquez and all of those, and we're just like, let's just have one-liners be every line of dialogue.
Yeah, like
The more one-liners,
why did they
the better.
stop at just a couple?
Yeah, it's like weird because, like, I mean, banter is nice or whatever, and I guess they've got not anymore, but they kind of had like an odd couple dynamic going off with Nazi and Jamaican, I guess, but
Are you
They-
gonna ship Kix and El Hada?
I'm not
After
shipping
watching this?
anybody in this. There's no, please, no.
I think maybe you would if you watched it.
Yeah.
I,
All right. So Bishop's making his way up. It's real tough.
By the way, this scene is the one that they use all their CG budget.
Ooh.
right.
oh, okay, this is the big time rush.
Like, he has another flashback, and like when the flashback ends, he looks up and the humanoid is just staring down at him.
By the way, yes, he's having a flashback during the climbing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's like a really bad time to be having a flashback, my dude.
So
Yeah.
the kind of the flashback of like his dead wife again.
Mara.
Yeah. Mara.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mara, you
So
and I
he's
are laying
like-
in bed talking
If we
about
ever
something.
mention
so pretty.
mention a flashback, but we don't say what's in it, just imagine he's saying something, quote unquote, cool, or it's like him laying in bed with Mara, and he's got just perfectly combed hair, like he's going to his first day of elementary school, and
Yeah.
and his mom wants him to look extremely presentable. And he's laying in bed with Mara, and they're just kind of snuggling, and
Yeah.
So
It's
oh,
just
and they're looking at a hologram projection of their wedding day.
Right. Yeah, we should mention that so it's not a surprise later that this necklace that the humanoid stole off Mara is apparently like that thing from Star Wars where,
where it
help
holds
me,
up.
Luke
Obi-Wan, you're my only
Skywalker,
hope.
Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. Yeah, it's like a projection, holographic projection of like their wedding day.
So since I haven't seen it, just so I can just clarify that this will happen. So he's like climbing. Mara flashback. That's what's happening right
yeah.
now. And then humanoid is like, I'm gonna get you.
You said Mara flashback twice. I want to make it clear. They didn't like make it with each thing. There's like a little bit of it. No, it's like, he's climbing up, and then we take like a solid 30 seconds to look at Mara for a while.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'll try to say like dream sequence or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
dream sequence.
Instead.
And then Mara's gone, and now humanoid.
Now he's
getting
back
you.
in the moment. He's climbing the ice wall. He's looking up, and there's the Noid looking
Yeah.
down at him. And I
Okay.
really want you to just imagine. Anytime I say Noid, I want you to think of the Noid
Dominoes.
from Dominoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not what they look like, but that's what I want you to imagine.
Makes it infinitely better. Yeah.
Makes it so much better.
So he just looks up and the Noid is just staring down at him, and then the Noid, like, pulls away, and suddenly the ice comes loose, and Bishop falls with all the ice. It's like, and he gets buried by all the ice, and, it's like black screen.
Credits roll.
I wish.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And-
all the ice falling it looks dumb and bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they. Oh wow.
And that's where they blew their budget. Their
Poor
CG
choice.
Yeah. So,
What?
did you? Oh,
budget. Okay.
okay, sorry.
Hey everybody, Zach's here. Recording went long, so I'm gonna cut it here. Stay tuned for the second half, okay?